Hey guys, Joe here, back to the Word today with a Bible review and 3-month crash test, the ESV Heritage in Horween leather. Want to share that with you guys. So everything's time stamped. If you want to watch the review or jump ahead to the crash test, I want to share it with all of you. So let's get started. First up, it feels a bit weird to do this video. I'm filming this the beginning of April 22, and this Bible is almost impossible and hard to find because they've pretty much sold out. But I'm doing this review because I want to share about the Horween leather, about this edition, because you can get the goatskin version of this edition. And I'm sure in the future, and I'm hopeful that Crossway will do more Horween editions. And so this will be a helpful video for those investigating if that Bible choice might be right for them. So let's go ahead and get started. So first up, the ESV Heirloom line. This is Crossway's premium edition, like top tier line. So when you get an heirloom, it's going to be a top quality leather cover. They now do Horween, obviously, is a special edition run. They do usually goat skin, some other stuff. You get a perimeter stitching around the outside of the Bible. It's done with premium Bible paper, and most heirloom editions have 4 ribbon markers. Crossway has certain layouts that they always do in their heirloom edition. So you have an heirloom Omega. You also have the Heritage, which I have here, of the Legacy. And then they do special edition runs of certain things. I know later in 2022, they're supposed to come out one, I believe, with a thin line. They've also done the ESV Study Bible in the past. And so when we're talking heirloom, we're talking about the top tier premium Bible edition from Crossway. Now, moving into this edition, Horween leather and the Heritage. I'm going to start on the outside. I'm going to show you guys some pictures as we go through. So this is the brown Horween leather CXL. If you don't know about this type of leather, Horween is a family-owned company outside of Chicago that's been doing leather for over 100 years. And so this Bible leather is specifically designed to have character over time. So if you're someone who wants to buy a Bible and it looks the same once you break it in for the next 60, 70 years, this Bible might not be for you. Go ahead and get a goatskin edition. They're beautiful. They'll be that way for 60, 70 years once you break them in. But this is for those leather lovers who want something that's going to build character over time. Maybe you pick it up, your fingernails, you put it on the edge of a table, you grab it with your keys. There's just different things that are going to add character to this cover over time. And while it may heal a bit, it's going to have a special, unique feeling of being your Bible. So going over this Bible, let's just say the cover is beautiful. I love the Horween leather. It's just amazing. You see 4 hubs on the side, and then you see the stamping on the spine. Now they didn't do full stamping, but it's stamping, this embossing type of effect, and it's just so beautiful. And different people have commented on why Crossway did that with these editions of the Bible, and I would just say, foil stamping on the spine, even for the goatskin, is sometimes difficult because it gets slick in the leather for different temperature changes. So it would have flaked off. It would have been kind of felt cheaply made. It wouldn't have felt quality. So they just did this blind emboss and it's just so beautiful. Some of them are thicker than others or deeper than others on different Bibles, but I think it's just beautiful and amazing. The perimeter stitching is done so well. So let's go ahead and look at the inside of the Bible. It's just amazing. I just think you have this liner. I would say for those investigating Horween leather, when you take it out of the box, it feels somewhat like a true tone. And that can be kind of, why did I pay all this money for something that feels like a true tone? But when you open it up and you look at the liner, that's the first thing that even out of the box, this Bible stands better than true tone because it's not that fake, it's not that like cheaply made glued in paper liner, but this is solid, beautiful. I've been using this 3 months and it's actually breaking in pretty well, and I really love the way it feels. I also would say enjoy getting into the text block, we have the 4 ribbon markers. Now, these are Crossway ribbons. There's lots of chatter online in the community. There's those who don't like that aspect. I really don't have that big of a preference. I know what great ribbons feel like. These are not them, but I also, these ribbons work great. Normally, I just use some fabric glue and I go right to the end of them when I get them out of the box, and I usually glue them and do a layer there just to make sure they don't fray. I've had some ribbons fray in Bibles, some not, and so I just do that for extra security. But other than that, I've kept it the same way right out of the box. And I really love that in the heirloom editions, almost all of them have 4 ribbon markers, which is beautiful. Now, before we get into the text blocks, I have the box here, and this is unique to this edition. The Heritage Edition is a personal size, single column reader edition. It says here on the back, it's got a 9.25 type, black letter text, high quality Bible paper, single column format, simple, straightforward, generous layout with margins, full color maps, 4 ribbon markers, footnotes, line matching, Smith Stone binding, and lifetime guarantee. So when you get an heirloom Bible, you are getting something that's quality leather, perimeter stitching, mostly 4 ribbon markers, and European Bible paper, high quality Bible paper. And what stands out for this layout versus other ones, so the Omega, you have the larger print with 2 columns and references. Then in the Legacy, you actually get a little smaller print. It's 9 point, but it's all together in one layout. And so I am going to go ahead and put up a comparison here for you guys between the Heritage and the Legacy, because this is something I had to do some research on, and we're going to find out why I picked the Heritage specifically. And it gets down to some graphic design terms, so I'm going to have to talk some type here for a moment. But when you're picking a reader Bible, which the Heritage and the Legacy kind of both are, single column, there's different preferences and things that are going on. So I'm going to put them side by side so you can see them. There you have 9 point, the Legacy on the left, and then you have the Heritage, which is the one I picked, on the right. And as you can see, there's a lot of things that are similar. The line length is close to the same. But when you pick the Legacy, there's margins, a little bit greater margins on the outside, and they put the headings for the text to the outside of the text. And so as you're reading, you get a continuous text block, you get some wider margins on the outside, and then you get those headings in that outer margin. When you switch to the Heritage, what you get is you get a little bit bigger text size, 0.25. It's not that big of a difference. It's not something that's going to make or break the day. But here's what sold me on the Heritage and why I chose it over the Legacy. And I've seen some comments online that people do similar things. Is not only does it bring those headings into the text block and into the line, but the space between the lines is bigger and greater. So in graphic design, we call that leading, the spacing between lines. And the spacing in the Heritage is something that doesn't reflect its 9.2 text size, but something more like a 9.5, 9.75. They've beefed that up a little bit. So the space between lines is actually more. Why does that matter? Well, what that matters and why that makes it easier is it reads more like a book. And it makes it easier when you're reading the text and you jump to the next line that you don't go ahead or read the same line again. So there's more space there. We've all read our Bibles and you've been reading quickly for whatever reason, and you've skipped a line or you've reread a line. And that extra space makes sure that that text has the ability to breathe and it's easier for you to read. And that's just why I picked the Heritage. Now, obviously, the Heritage is going to be a little bit thicker than the Legacy for just that reason. They can fit more text because it's smaller in the Legacy. So if you are looking at the Legacy layout and you want something and having a greater margin for writing and having those headings to the outside matters to you, get the Legacy. It's an amazing Bible. But if you're looking for something that you can be a bit thicker, you're not really looking for bigger margins, and you can stand those headings in there, I would say go with the Heritage. It's easier to read long term. I have no regrets that I've gone with this for that text block reason. Now, getting into the text block, you have this beautiful European paper. I'm going to show you some photos right now. It's just amazing. It's the European Indo-Opaque paper. So that means it has a coating that and you'll just notice as you're flipping through it, if you have one personally, it just feels so nice. Now it's like probably 28 GSM or so. A little bit of bleed through, but it's line matched. This is a beautifully laid out Bible. It's taken me about 2 or 3 months to break in the text block so that it lays flat. But once it does that, it's just so beautiful to flip through. For those who are making the premium Bible jump, I will say, when you first go to a premium Bible, that premium Bible paper can be a bit disorienting because you're used to a thicker GSM paper. Even the cheaper China blocks, which are really nice from Crossway and done in their own way, have a thicker paper that maybe sometimes is even better for writing in or journaling in. But when you switch to this one, the thickness is different. So it takes you a little while to figure out how far books of the Bible are apart from each other. And just flipping between can be, there's a little bit of a learning curve. But you get it after a little while, and it's so good. And the paper is such high quality. Just no complaints here at all. So with that being said, if you're considering one of these ESV Heirloom editions, and specifically Horween leather, I would say go for it. My final comment is that Bo Tate, who also does video reviews on YouTube, amazing guy, pointed out that these Horween editions are meant to build character over time and to be used. And so if you're that person who wants to get this Bible and use it, I'd encourage you to do it. He has said, and I would feel the same way. When I got this Bible, I was like, man, I want to try it out. I want to use it. And he said, I think my Omega out of the box, because he's using an ESV Omega and trying to use it for crash tests for years to come. He's like, after 3 or 4 months of use, this Bible, I feel, has gone up in value. Like a broken Horween leather Bible is actually more valuable probably than it was when you bought it and got it out of the box. And after using this for just 3 months, I would totally agree. It feels so good, and I don't want to depart with this Bible. So with that kind of being the review, I hope that helps you make your decision. Research it online. I'm hopeful that Crossway will do more of these editions in the future. Crossway is pretty good about every 2 to 3 years or so doing another print run of different heirloom Bibles. And so I hope that you can have the opportunity to pick one up, or you did in December of 21 into February of 22, because that's about how long they lasted, 3 months. And so pick those up. I'd encourage you to do that. Now, moving into the crash test. This Bible is amazing. I have been using it every day for 3+ months. A lot of Bible reviewers got theirs in October of 21. Crossway released them in mid-December of 2021. And then I've been using this one from January, February, March, and now we're into April, and I love it. I've been using it for my daily Bible reading, moderate to heavy use. I'm not preparing a sermon every week, but it goes with me everywhere. I do everything in it and look up the Bible in it. So how is this thing wearing in? How is it breaking in? I am not someone who did the break-in process that some people have put online. I broke this thing in organically. There are some who bend it different ways so that they can release the leather and get it to feel a certain way. But I would say after 3 months of use, this thing is finally breaking in for the Horween leather, and I love it. It's patina. It's doing some patina in different spots on the hubs, and I've trained it on the different edges. It's actually really cool. I'll put up some photos of what it looks like. I have noticed in different humidity differences, like when it's colder outside, it tends to look more cracky, like different parts of the actual CXL leather look different because it's colder outside. But then I've also noticed the more I handle it and it warms up and in my hands in more of a warmer environment, it just feels so good. And that leather like releases some of those oils. And it's just a beautiful cover. When I first got it and opened it up, the Smithsonian binding wasn't totally laid open. So it's like we are doing a current sermon series in Genesis. And so getting the very beginning of Genesis to fold open was difficult because of the block, the way the text block was in there. But that just took some time to break in. And so now it's doing that and it folds open, I would say rather perfectly. Moving on the inside, I would say I love the fact that it doesn't have the gilt line. It actually looks beautiful laid open. This just Bible looks so good. Only other thing I would say besides the cover and wearing that in, the one other thing I noticed is that towards the back, specifically, I would say Revelation, Peter area. I'll put this up so you all can see it. If I run my hand along here, you can hear it kind of rippling. Okay. And it was that way really after I got it out of the box. And so what that means is that there's different signatures that are sewn into the text block. And when those signatures are slightly off or maybe not aligned, when you have different humidity changes, they kind of loosen up. And so over time, that's something that normally happens within Bibles. Some Bibles, are sewn together perfectly. Others, as you use them, they'll kind of loosen up. And some loosening of that is expected. It's one of the reasons you can buy a new block, or a new Bible. I don't care what the text block is or quality. And when you get it out of the box, everything, all the edges are aligned and they look perfect. And then you start using it, and then you find after 2 or 3 months, you did a series in Exodus, you did a series in Peter, you did a series in the Gospels, and you kind of have this like one section, this one like signature that's kind of sticking out, and it's like, it's not aligned, it's not aligned with the rest of the pages. And so some of that is to be expected. And so I'm not worried about this Bible at all. I think that one signature is just moved a little bit, but that's kind of to be expected. As you use a Bible over time, it's going to loosen up. You don't want it to loosen up too much, obviously, because that's a manufacturing default or, not supposed to happen. But I would say besides that, which is not even abnormal, because what it's doing is totally normal, just adjusting. This Bible is amazing. Fully recommend. My goal is to keep running a review for you guys. This is the 3-month review. I'm hoping to do one at a year. I'd say 2 years, 3 years, maybe even 5 years crash test review on what this Bible looks like, how it feels, how it's breaking in. This Bible is hopefully something that I'm going to get to use over a lifetime. And so I'm excited to do it. My goal is not really to write in this Bible. It's to use it as a reader and a daily carry. I have used it for preaching, mainly just for reading different text segments. If you're looking for a preaching Bible, I'm just going on about this, but if you're looking for a preaching Bible, I don't know that this is maybe the perfect choice. A lot of people go with the Omega or something. I would say the only thing you're going to struggle with if you choose this for a preaching Bible is not the readability, it's not the portability, it's the fact that just jumping back into a text. So if I'm reading a bigger text block, like I love this Bible, it's amazing to get up in front of people and read. But if you're the type of preacher who's like, hey, let's look at verse 28, the latter part of 28. If you're not marking in your Bible and giving yourself some road marks, just jumping into such a chapter and finding verse 28, you may have a slight pause there. But that's a very minor thing. So all in all, I love this Bible so much. I'm excited to be doing more Bible theology stuff in the near future on the channel to share how this thing is wearing in. So until next time, just encourage you to be in God's Word, grow closer to Jesus Christ. Great to talk to you guys. God bless, and I'll see you guys soon.